Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Michael Myers Fanatic here to review a Blu-ray that I recently purchased on March 28th, 2017. And those of you that know me already know what it is. It's the new Wishmaster collection from Lionsgate and Vestron. I believe that's how you pronounce it, Vestron. If I'm wrong, please respectfully correct me in the comments section. If you disrespectfully do it, you'll simply be blocked. Anyway, the first thing I want to bring up about the Wishmaster collection is that the cover is misleading. Some of you are going to say, Myers fan, why would you say the cover is misleading? Let me explain. The cover is misleading because it will lead fans to believe, the new fans anyway, it will lead them to believe that Andrew Devoff is in all four films, when in fact, he's only in the first two. So why is he on the front cover? I've heard many people say, well, he played him first. I know. It's still misleading because they're going to think he's in all of the movies, but he's not. So in fact, what they should have done is they should have just put the djinn in his regular form and left it like that. Because technically the Wishmaster, as he calls himself, can look like anybody. So it would have made more sense if they would have just put him in his regular form. However, I do love the fact that Lionsgate brought the Wishmaster back for a new generation of fans to enjoy. Because I remember watching Wishmaster when I was a child. And as a matter of fact, Andrew Devoff brought this up in an interview. He said that some people watched it when they were a child or children, and now their children are watching it. That is very interesting, because now you got a new generation looking at this. And I just want to say that I appreciate that Lionsgate and Vestron brought it back for this new generation. Here's something else that I noticed. I noticed that parts 1 and 2 have their own Blu-ray discs, but 3 and 4 are on the same disc. Why is that? Could that be because people prefer 1 and 2 over 3 and 4 because Andrew Devoff is not in 3 and 4? I just find that very interesting. How come the first two get their own disc, but 3 and 4 don't? They have to share one. It's just interesting. And I was watching a feature on the Blu-ray called Out of the Bottle. And Robert Kurtzman, the director of the original Wishmaster film, pointed out the fact that many people auditioned to play the djinn. But for some reason, director Robert Kurtzman liked Andrew Devoff, and that's why he was chosen. I have to say, Mr. Kurtzman, if you're watching my review, I can understand why you chose Andrew. He's excellent. As a matter of fact, he was one of the only times where I actually rooted for the villain. I like Andrew. I can't help it. I just do. There's something about him. Great actor. Another thing I want to point out, Robert Kurtzman was in fact asked to do Wishmaster 2 Evil Never Dies, but he opted not to because he said it was low budget and he'd rather do movies that were getting theatrical releases. I mean, I guess I can understand what he's saying, but I don't know. If I was asked to do Wishmaster 2, I would consider it an honor. To work with Andrew Devoff again? Are you kidding me? I love that guy. But anyway, another thing that I noticed about this Blu-ray when you watch it, especially on the feature called The Djinn in Alexandra, Tammy Lauren, who played Alex Amberson, she and Andrew Devoff seemed to have a mutual respect for each other, even though they didn't know each other. I thought that was great. So yeah, that's nice that they still talk to each other after all these years. And they seem to keep harping on the fact that it was 20 years ago. And I can understand why they would do that. 20 years is a long time. I mean, I want you guys to understand something. I saw this film when I was a child. You know what I mean? This movie came out when I barely had teeth. Seriously, that's how you know it was a long time ago. And 20 years later, I'm gonna get to talk to this man. That means a lot to me. And I want to thank the people that set this interview up. They know who they are. I never in my wildest dreams imagined in anything that I could possibly fathom in my brain. And I imagine a lot of crazy stuff. But never did I imagine that the man that I was staring at 20 years ago from my small television screen in my living room, that I would be talking to him 20 years later. And it's going to be quite an honor. I cannot wait to meet you, sir. And I mean that. You're a great actor. The next thing I did notice, however, on this Blu-ray, and I mean no disrespect when I say this, the cast of the first film seemed to look down on part 2. I don't know why, but they act like they didn't really care for Wishmaster 2 so much, and I don't get it. You know, I thought part 2 was actually good. I thought it was better than the first one. And I know it's not politically correct for me to say things like that, because they say the second one is never as good as the first. But I'm sorry, the second one was better. It was darker, it was more serious, and I get it, guys, I really do. The first one had all those cameos. You had Tony Todd that played Candyman, Kane Hodder that played Jason, Robert Englund that played Freddy. Listen, I get it. I understand. But to me, the second one was just better. And it had all those Catholic themes in it. So I like how it was rooted in Catholicism. That made it even creepier. But yeah, they seem to look down on the second one, and I really don't get that, because, like I said, the second one was better. And even Andrew Devoff seemed to prefer the original over the sequel. And it currently, as we speak, and I didn't even notice this, somebody pointed this out to me when we were watching it together. Did you guys know that Andrew Devoff wears a djinn ring? That's right, he has a ring of the djinn on his finger. I didn't even notice that. Someone pointed it out. I guess he does it as a tribute. I think it's awesome. Writer Peter Atkins, the guy that wrote the original Wishmaster, states that he kinda liked the fact that they made a sequel to his film, and that he was surprised that he wasn't asked to return to do part 2. But I say, why would you want to return to a movie you think so little of? I guess he wanted to protect his creation, even though he wasn't very fond of it. And I guess I can understand that. If I made something but I didn't like it, I wouldn't want someone damaging what I created, for the simple fact that I created it. So I can understand where he's coming from. Also, when I was watching the featurette called The Djinn in Alexandra, Andrew Devoff revealed that he was very self-conscious about his face. He didn't like his face. He didn't like the way it looked in the first one. I thought his face was awesome. It looked very sinister. I liked it. Just saying. And he also revealed that he ate jelly beans and that they created phlegm in his throat, which helped give his voice that raspy tone that it needed for him to portray the djinn. I thought that was kind of disgusting. I mean, you're a good actor and all, but I don't think I would want phlegm in my throat. That's just weird. Oh man, I wouldn't tell people that. That's gross. He actually wanted it there. I don't get it. He said it helped him. I don't understand why he couldn't leave that out. Now I'm not going to be able to eat jelly beans. See what you've done to me, Mr. Devoff? That's pretty much all I have to say about the Blu-ray. I enjoyed it. I thought it was well worth the money. I like the fact that they came back and, like I said, they brought this into a new generation for the new fans to enjoy. I didn't like the cover because, like I said, I thought it was misleading. But other than that, I really enjoyed the Blu-ray, and I will be watching it for years to come. I think he's going to be in California signing autographs for the Blu-ray and all that stuff. And I'm kind of sad that I won't be there. But there is another way to look at this whole thing. I might not get to get my Blu-ray signed, but I am going to get to interview him. How many people can say that? Anyway, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I'm the Michael Myers Fanatic. I approve this message. Here ends my review of the Wishmaster collection from Lionsgate and Vestron. It was released on March 28th, 2017.